The grand halls of the Kensington estate were silent, too silent for a day that should have been filled with laughter, music, and love. Balloons hung limp against the ceiling, their bright colors muted by the stillness. A half-melted cake sat untouched on a long oak table, the words "Happy 16th Birthday," Clara, slowly sinking into the frosting. And there she sat, Clara Kensington, the only daughter of billionaire hotel magnate Edward Kensington, staring out the window at the sunlight filtering through the manicured gardens below. She could see the world outside, but she could not hear it. And worse, she could feel how empty her world had become. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the small miracles that connect hearts across silence, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Stories like this one remind us that sometimes love doesn't need words to be heard. Clara had been born deaf, something her father had always seen as a barrier, to be fixed rather than embraced. Despite his wealth, he couldn't buy the patience or understanding to truly connect with his daughter. Tutors came and went. Therapists tried. But Edward's life was consumed by board meetings, interviews, and the constant chase for success. The world praised him as a visionary, but Clara only knew him as a shadow that passed through the house, never stopping long enough to see her. Her mother, Evelyn, had died when she was just 6, leaving behind the faint scent of perfume and a music box that Clara couldn't hear but loved to watch spin. From that day, birthdays became less about celebration and more about endurance. One more reminder of the love she had lost and the loneliness she had inherited. This year, her 16th birthday, was no different. The maids had set up the decorations, the chef had prepared her favorite chocolate cake, and the gardener had filled the courtyard with white lilies, her mother's favorite flower. But when the candles were lit and Clara sat before them, no one sang. No one clapped. The staff stood awkwardly, unsure whether to approach. Her father had sent a message through his secretary. "Important meeting in Dubai. Will celebrate when I return." Clara blew out the candles alone. She left the table and wandered down the marble steps into the garden. Her bare feet brushed against the trimmed grass as she made her way to the back gate, a spot she often escaped to when the loneliness became too heavy. Beyond that gate was the city park, a place she'd visit in secret just to feel normal. There, children played, couples picnicked, and old men played chess beneath tall trees. She couldn't hear the laughter, but she could see it, the expressions, the energy. It was enough to make her heart ache for something she couldn't describe. That's when she saw him, a man about 30, wearing a faded denim jacket and carrying a small backpack slung over one shoulder. Beside him, a little girl, no older than 7, ran barefoot through the grass, chasing bubbles that sparkled in the sunlight. The man laughed as he blew another stream of bubbles into the air. Clara couldn't hear his laughter, but his eyes told her it was real. His smile was warm, not the kind that came with money or cameras, but one that came from love. The little girl tripped, and the man knelt instantly, brushing dirt from her knees and signing something with his hands. Clara froze. He was using sign language, fluent, natural, beautiful sign language. She watched, captivated, as the man and his daughter communicated through their hands. It was the first time she had ever seen someone in public use her language, not for charity, not for pity, but for love. When the man noticed her watching, he smiled. Clara felt her heart jump. He raised his hand in greeting and signed, "Hello." Instinctively, she signed back, "Hi." For the first time in months, her lips curved into a smile. The man's name was Liam Hayes, and the little girl was his daughter, Sophie. They sat with her on the park bench, talking with their hands beneath the bright afternoon sky. Sophie, though young, signed with the effortless joy of someone raised in a home where communication meant connection, not correction. She told Clara about her favorite ice cream, her love for painting, and how her dad always burned pancakes on Sundays. Clara laughed silently, her shoulders trembling with joy. Liam noticed the glimmer of emotion in her eyes and signed, "You have a beautiful laugh." She blushed, covering her face. No one had ever said that to her before. As the sun dipped lower, Liam asked softly through sign, "Are your parents waiting for you?" Clara's smile faded. She signed slowly, "No, my father is busy." Liam nodded, understanding. He'd seen that look before, the hollow expression of someone who had everything but love. "You're welcome to stay a bit," he signed. "We were just about to get some ice cream." Clara hesitated. A voice in her mind whispered that she shouldn't. Her father would be furious if he knew she was talking to strangers. But another part of her, the part that longed to be seen, to belong, told her to go. She nodded. They walked together to a small ice cream truck parked by the fountain. The vendor smiled at Sophie, who pointed excitedly at the strawberry flavor. Clara watched Liam order, then hand her a cone with a grin. "Chocolate, right?" he signed. She nodded in surprise. "How did you know?" she asked. He shrugged. "Just a guess. You seem like someone who likes classics." As they sat beneath the trees, Clara began to open up. She told them about her mother, how she loved the piano, and how she'd taught Clara to feel music through vibrations before she passed away. She told them about the emptiness of her father's mansion, the staff who avoided eye contact, and the silence that wasn't peaceful but heavy. Liam listened with compassion, his eyes soft. When she finished, he signed gently, "You deserve more than silence, Clara. You deserve people who speak your language, not just with hands, but with heart." She felt tears slip down her cheeks, and Sophie handed her a napkin, smiling shyly. "Don't cry," Sophie signed. "Today is your birthday. You're supposed to smile." That simple kindness shattered her completely. For years she had prayed that someone, anyone, would remember, and here was a little girl she had met only an hour ago, reminding her what birthdays were meant to be. Liam reached into his backpack and pulled out a small cupcake, slightly squished but still whole. A single candle sat crooked in the middle. "We always carry one," he signed. "Sophie insists every day could be a reason to celebrate." They lit the candle. The flame flickered gently in the wind. Clara closed her eyes, made a wish she couldn't put into words, and blew it out. For a moment she felt something she hadn't felt in years, belonging. When they walked her back to the mansion gates later that evening, Liam noticed her hesitation. The walls loomed tall and cold, like barriers against the warmth they had shared. He signed softly, "You can come to the park anytime. You're not alone anymore." She smiled, nodding. "Thank you." She signed, "For giving me the best birthday I've ever had." That night Clara lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. She replayed every moment in her mind, the laughter, the kindness, the shared silence that somehow felt full. And for the first time she didn't feel trapped by her deafness. She felt powerful, seen, heard. The next morning her father returned unexpectedly. He found Clara in the garden, practicing sign language in the sunlight. "What are you doing?" he asked, his tone impatient. She signed something to him, but he frowned. "Clara, I don't understand that nonsense." Something in her broke. Tears welled in her eyes, but this time they weren't from sadness. They were from strength. She signed again, slowly and deliberately, then learned. Edward froze. He had never seen that kind of fire in her eyes. That night, alone in his study, he replayed the image of his daughter's trembling hands and realized how much of her life he had missed. He searched online for ASL tutors in the city. Days passed, then weeks. Clara kept visiting the park, spending afternoons with Liam and Sophie. They taught her jokes in sign, shared lunches on the grass, and talked about dreams. Sophie even painted a small portrait of the three of them together, three souls from different worlds connected by kindness. Then one day Edward appeared at the park. His suit looked out of place among the children and the laughter, but his eyes were softer than Clara remembered. He walked up to her, paused, and then, clumsily, signed "Happy Birthday," late. Tears streamed down her face. She nodded, smiling through the blur. "Thank you, Dad," she signed. Liam watched from a distance, holding Sophie's hand. He didn't want to intrude, but when Edward turned and approached him, he was surprised. "You're the man who spoke to my daughter?" Edward asked. Liam nodded cautiously. "Yes, sir. She's remarkable." Edward's gaze softened. "She is. I just wish I had seen it sooner." He extended his hand. "Thank you for giving her something I couldn't. Connection." That evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of gold and pink, Clara sat with her father, Liam, and Sophie in the park. The laughter that filled the air didn't need sound. It was in their eyes, their hands, their hearts. And for the first time in 16 years, Clara felt like her world wasn't silent anymore. It was full of voices, some spoken, some signed, but all saying the same thing: you are loved. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us spread real stories that remind the world how powerful kindness can be. Comment below, what moment in this story moved you most? We'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings. End of story approx. 1/710 words.